Well, I guess it's over. We'd better be on our way. Are you going back to Daein? Yeah, everyone's waiting for us. We'll have to start rebuilding all over again. Hopefully this will be the last time. No, don't say hopefully. Make it the last time. If anyone can do it, you two can. I don't doubt it, but thanks for the vote of confidence. Danke, Ike. I won't ever forget you. Micaiah, have you become an Ike fanboy with me? No, sirs. Never! Never! You are a bit of an Ike fanboy, aren't you? Or maybe just a little bit of one. Crowned the 15th Queen of Daein at prior King Pelleas' entreaty, Micaiah did an absolutely bang-up job, and her era was known as the Golden Age. She denied to the end being an Ike fanboy. The Zephyr, Soth. Becoming Queen Micaiah's husband and her pillar of strength, he supported her in everything except when she went crazy and tried to do stupid things, and then he talked her out of it. So everything was awesome. Blade of Justice, Edward. Do you guys even remember me? I was so awesome in part 1 and then you just forgot me. Edward lived as a common townsman. What? Despite the Queen's wishes. No, I liked the sound of the palace. He would often visit the keep. Oh, that's good to know. To bring good news. But that's just that? I can't... Hey, Micaiah, the flowers are blooming. It's wonderful out here. Freedom's Arrow, Leonardo. Leonardo toiled at rebuilding the army. With his proven skill and good looks, he was beset by women across Pelleas, who were heartbroken when they found out he was gay. Wise champion, Nolan. Yeah, I was pretty good. Nolan wandered the kingdom, saving those in adversity. Stories of his altruism eventually became legends. I like that! Nolan became like this awesome hero! Carefree Saint Lara. Lara returned home to a quiet life where people didn't try to kill her with weapons, and raised children. And married Lucius.
Yes.
No,
Lucius came through the Outworld Gate and...
Yeah. Wandering Sage Ilyana. Ilyana returned to travel with the merchant caravan. With her awesome lightning skills, they were never beset by bandits. Somewhere, right now, she hungers.
Best ending ever.
Loyal halberdier, Aaron. Aaron served for many years as a lookout in his hometown. Everyone thought he really should have transferred to the armor division because his natural defensive stats would have been much better served there. Everyone relied on him for his honest, if clumsy, work, which is odd considering he had awesome skill. Steadfast rider, Tarneo. Did I even do anything in this game? Oh yeah, no. Tarneo worked tirelessly for his country as a linchpin of Daein's military and a pillar of statesmanship. Ah, the Blade of Unity, Zihak, whom no one could hit! Zihark traveled Pelleas as a mercenary, resolving Bjork Laguz disputes with his steadfast partner Nolan. Some say he eventually settled in Gallia. And Jill, Mistress of Wyverns. Queen Micaiah ceded Talrega to Jill because she had a giant axe. Bearing her father's ideals in mind, she made her land and people prosper, and on weekends she was the new Rider of Daein! Black Tempest, Har. Har married Jill and became her husband and pillar of strength in times of adversity. He always supported her in her bid to become the sole rider of Daein. He never fought again. Rather, he carried cargo in Talrega. Ah, the valiant Lady of Murado, Fiona.
Game hates Fiona so much.
As Lady of Murado, Fiona watched over her beloved people and protected them, even though she was a level 9 Lance Paladin.
And in the post Radiant Dawn fanfics, she was actually a really good unit.
Pelleas. I'm sorry. Okay, this is the new. This just plays if you let Pelleas live.
Yes, this just plays if Pelleas lives.
I'm sorry, but that's. I don't believe you, because you see, my dear, you have Demark. Wait, don't you have Demark? No, mother. Lady Almeida, is that the reason you sought me to be your son? And that is the reason why Izuka chose me out of all the children at that orphanage. Matteo, this is impossible! You are my son! I am your mother! I say so! Lady Almeida, your only memories of your son were of him as a baby. You yourself said so. In other words, he already had a mark, even as a child. Hi, that's so. What of it? This mark, my mark here, is called the Spirit's Protection. When I was 13, I chose to make a pact with the spirits. Nanda?
Nani?
Nani? When I learned that you were one of the Dragon Clan, I began to doubt. And slowly my doubts turned into certainty. I also had a very interesting talk with some of the bosses on the endgame. I'm sorry, Lady Ameta. I'm sorry that even though it was never my intent, I ended up deceiving you. I'm sorry, but I am not your son. Pelleas. But still, I was happy. It was fleeting, but I knew the feeling of a mother's love. And you have my thanks. But can I be your dragony stepmother? I'm not sure that would be a good idea! The spirit-charming sage, Pelleas. After relieving his lack of royal blood, Pelleas took a deep sigh of relief and gave up the throne. But he helped out Micaiah around the palace. He charmed the spirits into dusting everything, so the palace was always sparkling, and everybody liked him. Mistress of the Evil Eye, Nyla.
She should have been a hyena, Laguz.
She should have.
Yes!
Returning to Hatari with recent events graven in her heart, Nyla hoped to migrate her people across the desert to knock some sense into those crazy peoples! Black Wolf of the Sands, Volug. Strangely, Volug was still in war form on the day he went home. Asked why, he said it was just more comfortable that way.
Seriously, we should have had hyenas.
They should have been hyenas.
Just because of the way they act and interact with each other.
Hyenas are a matriarchy, guys, and their females are all bamfs.
Yeah.
Earthbound chorister Raphael. Yeah, rub it in, why don't you? Raphael performed a ceremony in Serena's forest to wake his father, the king. Eventually, he returned to Hatari. Fearless Lion King Kinagus. Ike, your work out there was superb. I will always remember the day we took down the goddess of order together. You aren't quite over the hill yet yourself. You know, I always wanted to go one-on-one with you, just once. Ha! I would have expected you've had your fill of fighting. I've had enough kill or be killed to last me a lifetime. Something simpler, some way of testing our respective strengths. Robo-racing? You mean controlled matches with all the little rules they have? In a peaceful world, we need such things, especially Laguz. Without a fight now and then, we got it strange in the head. That's the honest truth. I'd rather try to order a river to change course than stop a bunch of rampaging Laguz.
So sparring. Sparring was invented.
And then everybody lived happily ever after.
Yeah.
Upon returning to Gallia, King Kinagus lost no time in abdicating. For whatever reason. Countless songs still tell of his heroic efforts in defeating the Goddess of Order, and he retired to sort of vineyard, I think. Started a vineyard, yep.
Yeah.
I bet he brews a mean wine. Lion King's shadow, Gifka. Since their youth, Gifka had ever been at Kinagus' side as his loyal shadow. He had a lot to learn when he switched to protecting Skrimir, but he managed. Speaking of, Fang of Gallia, Skrimir! Skrimir, as the new Lion King, patrolled Gallia fiercely and without tire. He ran Gifka ragged, but he quickly learned to catch up. He often stopped in at his uncle's vineyard to sample his wine.
Skrimir should have been the lead character of Part 3.
Friend of nations, Ranulf. Ranulf was often run ragged by advising the new king. He commiserated with Gifka, and while he winced at his duties, Ranulf still indulged Skrimir. Besides, he liked the wine. Gallia's Valkyrie, Lethe! You remember me at all? I who helped you through Path of Radiance, and you just dropped me? Lethe, whatever, later became a captain in Gallia's home guard and pounded battle skills and fighting pride into young warriors. And Mordecai. Mordecai does not mind that you left him behind. He got to talk to his friends the birds. After returning to the forest, Mordecai avoided battle and lived all his days in peaceful harmony with nature and became an honorary Heron. Currently, he is learning Galdrar. Finder of secrets, Lyre. Lyre lived free and wild in the forest. She was not honorary Heron, but they tolerated her because Mordecai liked her. Also, she was really good at finding their keys when they mislaid them when they were 5 minutes late for work. The dutiful assistant, Kiza. Kiza remained a dutiful Gallian warrior. He showed exemplary service, blah 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 blah. To buck the trend, he started up a nightclub and became a dominatrix.
Oh my god.
Wait! Sister! Or should I say aunt? You're my older sister, aren't you? What do you mean? There's at least a generation gap between us. It makes sense! All the pieces fit! The Galder of Release, the goddess Yune's voice. Yeah, it's true. Inside the tower, I heard the voices of many hearts, and I knew. But you've got it quite wrong. I'm actually your aunt. So I was Miss Saha's older child, and your mother was her younger child. So I'm actually, yeah, I am your aunt. I'm descended from Lehran and Altina. Miss Saha, the former apostle, was actually my mother, not grandmother. That's a typo. Yes, I thought so! It must have been something like that. In that case, my dearest beloved aunt, please consider staying in Begnion. With your power and charisma, you could do so much good here. I'm afraid I can't. Oh, why not? Daein is my home, and Daein needs me to help it heal and rebuild, not Begnion. But Begnion! Begnion has you, Empress. You will be a fine ruler, make your country proud to have you, and together we can work and make our nations work together and never, ever, ever be at war ever again. Will I never see you again? I just said we are going to work together! I think our country's need is a sense of family and friendship. I ask that you sign a treaty of alliance with Daein and announce that we are equals. I will, of course! Once things settle down in both our countries, that will be the first thing I do. Auntie, this is awesome! Awesome, awesome, awesome! Between you and me and Alencia, and yeah, we can just get Nylan here and just have this whole complete, like, triumvirate thing. Only it's a 4, so it's like in the
Triumvirate.
Thank you, Empress Sanaki, my dearest, dearest niece.
Really, in our headcanon, they're aunt and niece, just because that makes more sense.
Yeah.
For all I know, that's actually how it is in Japanese, and maybe, like, ne-san.
Sanaki elected to guide her people in a world without the goddess, and made treaties uniting the continent.
You'll have to... Japanese experts, check in with me. Is the aunt called ne-san or ba-san? Because, like I know...
Anewe is older sister.
Yeah.
Anyway, the Sapphire of Begnion, Sigrun! Sigrun was loved by her subordinates in the Holy Guard for her kindness, and guarded Sanaki all her life. The Empire's Bright Blade, Tanith, and best Seraph Knight battle model ever! Tanith was feared by her subordinates in the Holy Guard for her strictness, and guarded Sanaki all her life. And between the two of them, nothing ever killed Sanaki. They guarded her from death itself! Plucky freedom fighter, Tormod. I'm still small! Oh wait, no, his balls dropped. I'm still small, though. As Begnion's Laguz advisor, Tormod labored to help former slaves out of poverty. He was busy, but very happy. Though he managed to procure a massive baritone voice, he always remained small. Desert's Water, Muarim. As Begnion's first ever Laguz official, Muarim assisted Tormod and supported his efforts in every area, except growing taller. Liberation's Talon, Fika! Vika became a liaison to former slaves and opened up a fashion boutique, which became very, very popular. Traveling between the cathedral and the Laguz districts, she was loved in both, and her fashions became the rage throughout Begnion.
Her eyes are so blue. She's like that guy from Almost Human.
She's got Michael Ealy eyes.
Dude.
Collector of Beauty, Oliver. Oliver joined DeviantArt as was never heard from again. So many pretty pictures was heard to echo from the bowels of the internet.
Yeah.
The lion-blooded Stefan. Stefan gathered like-minded individuals to form a tiny, independent settlement, which later became a great country. Lord of the Air, Taiwan! Will you be heading back to Gallia first? We'll stop by Gallia, then wing straight on to Serena's. Serena's? Why there? The Empress Sanaki has kept her promise. Serena's will be formally ceded back to us. She said we may return immediately. I see. That's good to hear. Gosh, clearing out all those senators sure made things easier. Sometimes birds change their feathers. The hawks, the herons, even the ravens. We're thinking we'll all settle down together. All this time, we've sorted ourselves by our ways of thinking and seeing and living. If we can respect each other's opinions and learn to compromise, we can learn to live together without strife. I don't think it will be that easy, but it still ought to be simpler than getting Bjork and Laguz to treat each other decently. You set a good example, Raisin. All the major issues look like they'll be handled soon. The only thing we can't agree on is hunting and eating meat. The forest creatures are off limits! Needless displays of violence as well. You know we will not budge on that. Tell me, have you ever heard of a vegetarian hawk or a raptor that doesn't scream victoriously at the skies after a kill? Meat, huh? That's a thorny problem. Maybe you hawks should join up with the lions with their sparring thing. Yeah, but what about meat? Tyburn was chosen unanimously as the first king of the United Flying People clans. Bird clans, that's the word I was going for. Bucking the trend of female rulers taking over from male ones that seems to predominate Radiant Dawn. But Tyburn got to do it, because he's Tyburn, and he's awesome. Sky's Shadow, Nisala. Saved from his blood pact, Nisala left his people and their nation and married Leanne. They lived happily ever after and had 2 children. He also became a diplomat.
Yeah.
White Prince, Raisin. Sir Pissy worked hard as a leader in the new Laguz nations. He bashed sense into people right and left and was all around considered to be the true power behind the throne. His iron resolve under a pretty face was well suited for politics, also. The Hawks King's eyes, Janeth's. Yes. As the new king's right arm, Janeth was so eagerly trained his men that he often skipped meals, weekends, and sleep. Yep, that's Janeth.
Hawks King's ears, Ulkies. Ulkies!
Ulkies! Despite being the new king's left arm, Ulki still loved solitude. Spending time alone in the forest with Mordecai. We don't know what they got up to. We didn't ask. Mesmerizing chanteur, Leanne. Leanne and her father made the forest beautiful and glowing, and he eventually forgave her for marrying Nisala. She spent her days playing with her children. I think it was a raven boy and a heron girl. And they were awesome.
It was or maybe it was a raven girl and a heron boy.
I forget.
I don't know.
Wise old crow, Neolucci. Despite his age, Neolucci worked hard to restore the name of the Raven clan. Every year, he set a new age record. Until Lehran showed up, and then he said, "Go away!"
Neolucci's like Bilbo Baggins, except Raven.
Man of mysteries, Volk. After finishing his contract, Volk went back into the shadows he knew so well. He was a man of mystery to the very end. Turned out he was actually Jafar from Fire Emblem 7 and was on the run from Nino, who was really pissed at him for disappearing.
Young Dragon King Kurthnaga.
King Kurthnaga. Kurthnaga spent his days arbitrating conflicts between nations, guarding the peace so many had died for. But he was a lot more reasonable than his father. Wish Spinner, Ina. Ina returned and gave birth to a what?
What?
Wait, what? She was
What?
pregnant that whole time? Like through passive radiance, the 3 years, and the... What?
All that time in the prologue to Path of Radiance, during Path of Radiance, during Radiant Dawn. What is the gestation period, like 15 years?
She was gonna lay that egg when she was good and fucking ready, goddammit. She's like, I am going to wait until the world is in a better place before I bring another dragon into it. The seer served the new Dragon King by observing other nations in his travels, and often doted on his great-grandchild. Hey! Gareth. Gareth was really, really bitter for being gypped in the last 2 stages of the endgame, but he eventually got over it. He was named Chamberlain to the king's new nephew, and taught him with both strictness and love. Well, your majesty, shall we be off? Yes, let us, to Crimea, to our homeland. Alencia was pretty much an awesome queen, like she had been for the last 3 years. She remained good friends with Micaiah and Sanaki, and the 3 of them pretty much solved all the world's problems. The end. Yep. And Renning? What of Renning? Well, everyone was happy to see him, but he chose to forego the throne because Alincia was doing such a good job as it was, and he didn't want to jerk the rug out from under her. So he just glared at anyone who tried to undermine her. Protector of the realm, Joffrey. As a captain of the Royal Knights and a model of chivalry, the good kind, not the fucked up kind, Joffrey served his queen and country faithfully. And they did eventually get hitched because he's a fine guy, and Ike was interested in someone else. Tireless advisor, Lucia. Where the queen went, Lucia followed. Their love was fabled to be stronger even than most... No, maybe she married Lucia. I'm changing that around. She married Lucia.
It gets a little fuzzy here.
Yeah, they all loved each other.
It's quite possible that Lucia married Bastion.
They were a polyamorous triad. And it sort of sing through Lucia because thing, but maybe not. What?
Incest taboo, no.
What? No, Lincia's not related to Lucia.
Lucia's related to Jeffrey.
No, but Jeffrey's not a part of it.
No,
I was thinking of...
I don't know.
Bastion, Lucian, Kieran served the royal family with nearly fanatical verve. His voice could be heard from anywhere in the castle as he sparred against statues and other pieces of shrubbery. Petulant Pegasus Knight Marcia. Marcia showed her dedication as one of the royal knights, ever vigilant as she patrolled Crimea's skies. Sometimes she flew over to Talrega to see her friend Har. Makalov tripped and fell on a nail, and ever after was called Nail Face. But it meant he had to give up gambling because no one lets you gamble if you have a nail in your face. The end.
Astrid got over her crush on Makalov.
Unassuming knight Astrid. Astrid realized what a loser Makalov was and eventually married Kieran because at least he doesn't have a gambling problem and he treats me well. The only people he beats up are the enemies. Relentless halberdier Nephany. The woman who killed the last Aura! Nephany returned to live with her family in Melior. Time and again, she raised her lance in the defense of the land, and that was literally all she had to do. She just had to come out and pick up her lance and go,
pick up the wishblade!
Dude, pick up the wishblade! They're like, I am the one who killed the last Aura! Who shall fight me? And everyone just went away.
Yeah.
The rural juggernaut, Brum! Returning to his family in Oma, Brum farmed for the rest of his peaceful life. He never lifted a weapon again because he didn't have to. He just sat on people who annoyed him. The wayfaring country girl, Meg!
So did Meg. She just sat on people who tried to shame her.
The cherry knight and wielder of Elendite returned to her village and married some nice guy who looked after the kids because she was always gallivanting off to go see her friend Jill. Alluring rogue, Heather. Heather returned home to care for her mother, swearing off thieving, but she secretly did anyway. Tee-hee, because you can't stop her.
Yeah. Heather, this is what happens when heteronormative straight men try to write a lesbian.
Yeah. Thanks for trying, though. The war over, Danved hung up his lance and became a traveling performer. His act could make anyone laugh, and only creeped out a few people. First-rate sage, Khalil. Khalil was joyously reunited with her daughter, and when they got back, Largo was all better again, so she returned to running the store with her beloved Largo and daughter Amy. Her bright smile cheered many hearts and got her lots of tips. Scarlet-haired paladin, Titania. Titania remained second in command of the mercenaries. Once a year, she visited the graves of her fallen friends. Who else died?
I don't know.
Game, you do not place enough faith in me as a tactician. Deadly adept, Shinnen. Shinnen lazes the days away in his old haunts. An expert at all he put his hand to, he chose none as his calling, but he never gave up the double bow either. Perpetual Guardian, Gatry. Gatry became a famous mercenary and a household name. Fate led him to find many women, but never true love.
As long as you obeyed the campsite rule.
Agile horseman, Oscar! Oscar returned to the Royal Knights at Queen Alincia's request, but still took mercenary work on the side. Especially when Ike asked. Because, hey.
Because Ike.
Because Ike. Mighty soldier, Boyd! Boyd trained daily to make up for the fact that Rondie did not let him get any action in this game, and so he wouldn't lose to some stupid rookie. Mist humored her husband's insecurities with a smile, and said, "Get over it, she didn't train me either." Faithful student, Rolf. Rolf remained with the mercenaries. He was always in demand as a tutor of unrivaled marksmanship and much better temperament than Shannon. And Reese. Reese served as a healer and opened a small chapel in a corner of their old keep. Because, like you do. He taught school there. He taught Laura's children's school there. They went from one saint to another, all the way across the continent, just like that, because that is the power of saints. Aspiring Lady of the Blades, Mia! Mia set off in search of new opponents. She traveled the whole continent, but sometimes rested at Grail's retreat. Healing Breeze, Mist. Mist went crazy and killed everyone for being called a Healing Breeze. She bathed in the blood of her enemies and became the new goddess of war. Just kidding. Mist acted on her feelings for Boyd marrying him. She cried during the ceremony out of happiness. You're Ike of the Grail Mercenaries, and you're the Dowager Queen of Daein. I heard some of what you've gone through, and I'm glad that you're safe. Ah, indeed. In light of that, can I do anything for you? I think not. I think I have seen enough. As you wish. Well then, Lady Almeida, Prince Kathnaga, take care of yourselves. Hi, and you as well. I know we shall meet again. Are you satisfied, my sister? You wish so strongly to meet with General Ike. I only did so because Pelleas said... He said that it would be wise if I were to meet with him. Did he say why? That child, he said to me. It was the last gift he could give me. He wouldn't say anything more. A gift? By meeting General Ike? What about the Bjork could possibly... Wait! Mate!
I was gonna say.
Anyway. Yes, do you need something? What? You are... What is your name? I'm Soren. I see. That is a fine name. Thank you. You're welcome. Is that all? Ah, yes. Pardon me, calling out to you like that. I was confused. Don't let it trouble you. If you'll excuse me. I don't believe it. That boy is a staff officer of Grail Mercenaries and the boyfriend of Ike. What made you call out to him like that? I know it. Because I have lost the power of my birthright, I thought maybe I wouldn't be able to. That I might not be able to recognize my own child. But when her own true son stands before her, no mother could fail to know. Oh, my son, you've lived and grown strong, and you have excellent taste in men. You can't mean that... You can't mean that Soren is your son? Wait.
You kind of had the same instinctive reflex reaction when you saw Pelleas. Don't count on it.
Except that he looks exactly like Kurthnaga!
He does! He does! He does!
When the peace had settled on the land, Soren packed lightly and set off with the only person he had ever lived! Ike! I like it's just Ike.
He doesn't need a fucking title.
Once he saw stability returned, Ike left on a journey to lands still unknown. He was never seen again. Because he found his way into Super Smash Bros. 2 and thought it was so fun, he decided to stay! Or was it Super Smash Bros. 3?
It was Super Smash Brothers Brawl, so they don't number their...
Super Smash Brothers Ponies.
Something.
Light of Creation, Lehran. At Larazia's urging, I fuck! Something. He lived with the herons and was pretty happy.
He was rehabilitated.
Yeah. He got massive therapy.
Yeah.
And this is a special cutscene you only get on your second playthrough or onwards if you've recruited Lehran. Welcome home. Could it be that you were here all this time? Alas, no, I'm sorry to say. But for several days, I somehow felt as though you would soon return. Well, I'm home. And I'm glad to see you again, Lehran. And I'm glad to see you as well, Goddess Hashinera. How long has it been? 100 years? 500? The place looks the same. About 1,200 years, actually. Holy shit! Talk about setting age records! And he got his wings back!
Like I said, therapy!
I see. For mortals, that is many, many lives. Yes, the peace we once had is on the verge of crumbling again. That's unfortunate. The miasma of war is beginning to shroud this world. However, I shall not again be frightened. As one born of the hopes of man, I shall protect this world. Yes, and not by turning everyone to stone. No, of course not. I've grown out of that. Lehran, I've missed your songs. Would you sing for me now? I no longer... Well, then, I will sing, and you may sing with me. Is that all right? We can sing together. Yes. Yes, that sounds very nice.